Imagine if you were raised in Texas from the 50s through the 70s when all the people there were still cast in the image of those who fought for the Alamo. Then you moved to Washington State when it was known by its people as God's country, for the mountains, the sea, and its namesake in the memory of Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea too. And you bought a historic university home and made the front into a cafe for the college students with an international TV cooking show. Then you bought a mobile in the countryside and dug ponds for kids you fish. Then you worked with Congressman Sid Morrison and Commander Wheatley, Jack's dad, under Nimitz in the Pacific, and Senator Swecker, co-chair of the salmon recovery effort, and Dr. Chu, Dean of Fisheries, to go to China, well, the Republic of China, Taiwan, to learn how the Rockefeller Foundation financed Taiwanese fisheries to become the #1 farmers and exporters across the globe of the famous monodon prawn called the black tiger prawn. To make this technology available to Central America, specifically Costa Rica, which was not a member state of the drug cartels, through those times, started in the 80s. We only had black and white Kodak cameras then, so this involved one picture survived, driving solo from the Canadian border to the Panama border in a van and military trailer loaded with tools and equipment to build a shrimp farm there. Here's the only surviving picture on the front page of the newspaper. That was where the book begins, the first book, and who helped start it when President Oscar Arias won the Nobel Peace Prize in Costa Rica for being a great civil diplomat and not a cartel agent. The first book, A New American Covenant, is written in Spanish and English, addressed to Central American Catholics. The second book is in English, addressed to Republicans and simple patriotic Americans who love their country, explaining how and why we should think of President Trump and President Bolsonaro of Brazil as Saint Pope John Paul and President Reagan, both who consecrated Russia out of communism and back to Christianity, as he did, remembering once long ago his mother had been a devout Orthodox Christian before, well, Mussolini and Hitler and Marx and Lenin and Stalin, etc., invented communism as a world error, as Fatima called it. Putin is perhaps the better Christian in all the old world, despite his neighbors. Here is the cover of each book, telling the travelogue of those events of living with families close to the presidents of Venezuela, Ecuador, and Colombia, and Mexico too, earlier in other travels and later in recent travels in Latin America. 2020, the book, basically says, outside of dealing with nations across the waters, but here in the Americas, that Trump and Bolsonaro and Brazil can form a pact and consecrate the Americas out of communism and drugs that has spread for 50 years from the Bolivar-Castro cartel of the 60s. South America and Central America can be great too without Muslim drugs, the water pipe and the opium needle. And find another world export for Colombia besides cocaine. Fish farming may be one application here, but there are different designs of the strategy to put all fish farms on land so the coastal bays do not cause extinction to other species as they're doing around the world. So this is what we learned from Taiwan with the help of Texas Sea Grant and who helped implement some of the process. And the video is about the two books. Please please order the books and read them. Thank you.